How about now?
Now we do.
Excellent. How's everyone doing?
I'm good. Hanging in, hanging out, and hanging on, brother.
Yeah, we're plugging away as much as we can.
That's right. So for those of you that haven't been on one of these yet, these actually have gone really well. We've done 2 of them so far, and it's nice having a different set of people each time, different circumstances per market. So we'll kind of pause here for the next 3 or 4 minutes, and we'll see a flood of people come on the call. We're averaging anywhere between 40 and 100 people on each one of them. So it's good feedback and a good opportunity to get to know some other people as well, and do some one-to-ones or some breakouts if you'd like to afterwards. We had some referrals passed in our last 2 interactions where actually they connected on the call, or we were able to connect them offline. So think about it. If you have anyone moving to a different state, different city, bring those to the table and we'll see if we can get you connected to somebody good.
I love that you're doing this, Brad. Thanks for putting this together. It's good to meet you, man.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good idea.
Thank you.
You know,
Well,
it's kind of inspired me to. I put together a kind of a mastermind group. I'm gonna bounce right after this and put together another meeting, and then later I'm gonna put together another one just for some musical friends that want to jam, just have some fun, break up the isolation.
I love it. That's huge. I think it's funny now more than, I don't know about funny, but it's now more than ever, people just want connection, right? And so just sending this out and trying to engage people, it's, I've been doing this for 2.5 years now, and I'll share more on what I've been doing, but the adoption of people actually coming online and getting connected with us in calls and, you know, wanting to participate has been through the roof. People reaching out to me, just calling me out of the blue. I don't even know who they are, right? So it's a great way to connect and finding some purpose behind all this.
Yeah, Brad, and I just want to thank you for putting the room together. Did get a referral for our team, and it looks like we're going to be getting their people's house on the market middle of April. So
awesome. Something's working. I like it.
Oh yeah, it's always good to like you said. You know, I say cast the net out a little bit further, and you get to know more people, and opportunities come from that. So it's great.
Very good. And thanks for sharing, Tim. We'll just wait 1 or 2 more minutes here and then we'll get going. I have on the call so far, we've got 16. We had 45 registered today. So for those of you joining on, just, you know, you're automatically muted as you come on. Just make sure you mute yourself. I've got 3 kids in the background that we're homeschooling. So forgive me if you hear something on my end too. What I'll do, it's 1 o'clock. I'll share kind of my perspective on getting these started, and know that we have multiple of these masterminds if you want to come online. I see Dave here that just joined. He's been on a couple of them. So feel free to keep coming back. We've scheduled 4 out right now, and I intend to do 2 a week because the circumstances are changing on a regular, hourly, daily basis. And each one of our markets are different, right? So, you know, San Diego went into lockdown, and then now we're essential, and some states are essential and some aren't. Some can't show any property at all. So it's a great opportunity to learn from others that are already in that situation or maybe can help out. It's also a great opportunity to pass some referrals. So if you know anyone that is moving to another city, my goal in all of this is to connect people, right? To have opportunities amongst each other to pass referrals, and to think of BNI, if it's not first, at least be the second choice for your referrals and passing those out there. So first things first, is anyone in the group not in the Facebook group? You guys all made it in there. I see some new names that I just accepted here today. I'll type in the chat comments the link just so you have it. Obviously, don't click out and leave the meeting, but make sure you take it down and join the group online. Cool place to do some of this and share information. Also an outbound referral source for you. So you can share outbound referrals and get connected with other agents in different markets as well. So I'll share that here in just a second. The other thing is make sure you're coming to our other masterminds. If you have any questions or timing issues, just let me know. I want to continue doing these all through this timeline. So we'll continue doing 2 a week. Just share with me if better times work or what have you, but I appreciate everybody that's on here so far. And I'll open it up. So we'll get started with how's everybody doing? What's everybody's wellness? What markets are you in? And how is it coming along for you right now in our current state? Anyone want to share?
Hi, Denise Steigers. I'm with Capital Business Referrals we're in Thurston County, which is Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater, Washington. We're doing fine. We were re-entered as being essential last Saturday, and we're getting clarifications every day. They originally said photographers couldn't come out, but now they've lifted that. But we're limited to 2 people per site. So if it's a couple, then one has to sit in the car before we can let them in the house. But I had 3 listings go live this week, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of traffic on them right now, which I'm surprised because they're in the lower range of our market. So I think it's going to remain to be seen what's going to happen with the economy and that stuff.
Absolutely. And you were one of the earlier locations that was kind of shut down. And you've seen something similar to that we have in San Diego, California, of it loosening up a little bit. People actually going out there and doing some different things.
Yeah, and it loosened up really fast. I mean, we were told last Wednesday no more, and then by Saturday morning it was lifted to say, okay, 2 to a site, that's it.
My name is Chris Draper, and I'm with BNI Wealth Builders in Frisco, Texas. And we're probably 3 weeks out from really seeing any kind of change. We are listed as essential at this point in time. But if you've got a client that wants to go out and look at homes, the problem is most of the listings will not allow showings. So it's a double-edged sword.
Now, Bruce, let me ask you a question. Are those listings still on the market, accruing days on market, and saying they're available to show? You just have to make a phone call and the sellers aren't showing them?
Some yes, some no, but by and large, we just check with the listing agent, and probably about 80% of the time, they're saying not at this point in time. We're hoping that it's pin-up demand as much as anything else. And within 30 days or less, we'll begin to see some of that loosen up.
Okay. What other markets? Lee?
Yeah, my son Alex, he's on the line too. We're in Palm Beach Gardens, Palm Beach County, Florida. So we are just starting to see last week, everything pretty much non-essential got locked down, but now we were just told this week by the Board of Realtors, we are not allowed to meet any people face to face. So we can't meet with buyers, sellers, we can't have buyers go to our listings with their agents. So everything is virtual. We did just close a property, one of our listings, but it was a cash deal. We have 2 more under contract with mortgages. Those still seem to be moving forward. And one of our listings, which would normally sell in like a day, even though it's in the 500s, we put on just when this really started going crazy. And we've had a few showings before that came into effect, but now it's pretty much dead. But our seller wants to leave it on the market now. So we're kind of shut down, even though we're virtual. We can send a photographer, but we can't meet with them. And like Denise said, many sellers, or I think Bruce, don't want to show their property. So
I agree.
People are waiting. Even investors we did show this week have said they want to now wait and see what happens with the economy.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them, really.
I agree with Bruce with the idea, and me and my mom Lee, who's talking, we both kind of talked about it yesterday. Having the listing on the market is having the buildup of days on the market isn't going to mean the same as it did in a normal market. I think everyone, agents, buyers, will have the understanding that, you know, maybe it's been on the market for 30 to 60 days, but we know it's because of the coronavirus. And I think that, you know, the demand will build up until people's confidence starts coming, and then hopefully the demand for some of these properties bounces right back.
That's certainly a hope. You know, it's interesting in our market, what we've seen is not a massive change in the number of homes and the absorption of inventory. So we do have some of those products that are out there that aren't showing, but they're still on the market. We're still putting the same number of homes in escrow as that are coming on the market. So, and it's been what, 2 weeks now that I've been home, week and a half, and finally they just lifted it again. So we have lots of people out there. We've seen multiple offers on some. And I think every market will be different, but ultimately I think we're all kind of pausing to look at what the economy is going to do. Can I ask something? What is everyone doing to pivot right now? What are you doing with your databases? What are you doing with your traditional revenue streams? And the people that are out there that you're talking to, are you leaving them alone? Are you calling them? What's everybody doing right now from home? Laura? You have to unmute yourself before you talk.
There we go.
Cool.
I'm from Rockland Founders, so I'm up in Northern California. And basically, I sent out probably 300 videos that I made, and it was just nothing about real estate. It was, hey, how's it going? Just super brief. And then, can I bring you anything? Because at that time, when I sent it last week, we could go out. And every single person responded, which I was delighted. So it's just staying in touch with them that way, and then just kind of reaching out for my elderly. One client did get the coronavirus, so I just kept touching base with her. Can I get you anything? Can I leave anything at the door? And people do appreciate that, just hearing from you.
And you're doing individual videos to each of your clients, is that right?
No, nope. I did one video, and I just am sending it out individually.
Got it. Okay,
Yep.
Great. I heard something on a call I was on earlier today from my market center, and they would do a senior Monday. And basically every Monday was her day to go to the store for the seniors that are in her database. And I thought that was kind of cool, where they just knew in advance if they needed anything, they could send a list. She actually goes out and shops for the seniors and brings them things from the store, and does it all in a hygienic way and in a sanitized way. So I thought that was an interesting spin-off of what you just said. What else? What else are people doing? Brooke?
Hi, everybody. I'm up in Northern California, just north of San Francisco. I'm also utilizing the time to call through all my clients and just do check-ins. But in terms of BNI, I dedicated, after our last mastermind, I was on the very first one. I called every single realtor in our region, which is about 80. We have a pretty large region, just to check in with the fellow realtors. Kind of what Brad's creating, kind of, nationwide. But I just to say hello, check in, see how they're doing. It was very well received. And I am in the less expensive part of the Bay Area, so many people do move up to Sonoma County. So it's hopefully at least people know my name, right? If they do have northbound referrals, it was just a check-in call, and to talk about the market. And I told them about this meeting. So utilizing BNI as a larger organization.
I think that's great. I mean, that's a great, another offshoot. I mean, that's obviously what my intention is here, right? Is to connect with more people, to be in front of more people that have like-minded attitudes towards this, as well as a strain of something in common. So I think that's great, Brooke. What a great idea to come off.
Brad, what is everybody seeing with companies relocating their employees? Are we seeing any of that ongoing? I had a client that was moving to Canada. They were scheduled to leave on a Tuesday morning. They got a call by the airlines on Monday night that they had closed the border, basically, and now they're stuck at home with 90% of everything they have in trucks packed.
Denise, do you have? Go ahead. Denise, go ahead.
Okay, so what we're seeing, we have a huge military population here. Depending on the carrier, they're now not allowed to cross interstate lines, is what we've been told. Local movers are making their own independent decisions, and they are still operating. And of course, I don't know if any of you are in military markets, but basically the military has canceled most of their orders until April the 8th, and then they will review at that time for moves.
And you're absolutely right. They do have a pending order right now of no PCSing whatsoever. So those that already had orders that we were working with to put their homes on the market, they've frozen, and they'll reassess here soon.
I will say one of my sellers who had orders to leave, basically they allowed him to at least get his house packed up, but not until April the 10th. So that's 2 days after the order's lifted. So he at least has that in place, but he still won't be allowed to leave the area until his PCS orders are reinstated.
And that's always subject to change, right, with what we've got going on. So they might be scheduling, but they might be rescheduling as well. What about corporations? Has anyone had any experience with corporations right now? Larger companies relocating employees? Cindy?
Oh, there you go. I'm from the Seattle area. I work out of Bellevue, Washington. I do a lot of work with Microsoft and Amazon transferees coming into the area. And my last few inbound employees actually are working remotely. So they're not actually even coming to the sites here to begin their positions. I had two, one begin in Amazon, one at Microsoft, and they both started this week remotely. So while I'm still looking for homes for them, sending them listings as they come on. And now we just got opened up in the Seattle area that we can actually go into homes. We were locked out last week. So should there be something awesome for them, I would go take a look and do a walkthrough with them on videos. So, but yeah, what I'm understanding in our area is they're working remotely if they've been hired prior to this shutdown.
Great. So let me shift gears a little bit into our BNI chapters, right? Now that you've had, most of you have probably had at least one meeting. I know we never stopped. So we actually, I had a Zoom account to start with. I'm accustomed to Zoom. We rolled right into a Zoom meeting the first week and we had 95% attendance. What are you seeing with your BNI chapters and what are you doing to support the chapter itself? Nothing?
Hey, Brad.
Yeah, Todd.
We had our meeting today. We had actually had our second meeting since going into quarantine. And today our real estate attorney felt it was his obligation to highlight some of the members that probably are most affected by this, specifically our massage therapists. We have a personal concierge. Who else did he highlight? The printer as well. The printer does a lot of weddings, so a lot of weddings have to be canceled or rescheduled. So what he did was, instead of doing his 10-minute presentation, he asked us all to kind of help out, contribute, maybe buy a gift certificate for a service down the road, maybe buy something for a client. I know what I'm doing personally. We're located right in New Jersey, right outside Manhattan, so somewhat at the epicenter of all this right now. And our concierge person, she's also a stager and an organizer. What she offered to do is to go shopping for groceries. In turn, I then sent that out to my real estate office saying, hey, this is a person that maybe your clients can use. I'm also going to send it out to my best clients and say, hey, can I help you? Can I offer you anything? Here's a personal shopper. She's local. She's in town. Instead of going like for Instacart or for like some of the Whole Foods people where you really don't know who's touching your stuff, at least this is someone that's tangible, that's out there, and it can help them down the road too. So it's kind of a way to just kind of boost up business within the people that are suffering most within our chapter.
I think that's great, Todd. You know, we took it a step further. I just had a call this morning with our chiropractor. I sold him a house 3 months ago, and I know he is struggling With his larger payments, all of his employees are home. He really has no cash flow right now. And we actually did a strategy session with him this morning about selling prepaid packages of his adjustments at a discount. And basically said, well, if you charge, $400 for a set of 8, why don't we take it to $300? And I can send it out to my entire database and see what we can do about promoting you a little bit, and just creating some traction for someone. What I'm finding is a lot of people who are shut down and don't have the cash flow are just literally hiding in a hole, and not doing anything, right? So how can we get them out of their mindset and out of their own way and get out there and help them? So that was one that just kind of came up, and I said, I'd buy a $300 package of adjustments for after this. If you're going to give me, eight adjustments for a little bit less, and I can put some money in your pocket this week, I'd be happy to do that. So
it was really great too. Like our real estate attorney was really helpful in kind of promoting each other's business, and it kind of got to like an auction style where like who's willing to contribute, and most of our group ended up contributing. He was highlighting 5 groups. Most people threw in $500, $100 to each group. We have a restaurateur in there as well. So it really helped us out a lot. I think it really boosted our morale.
And it puts you a step deeper with all these business owners, right? So not only are you helping, but you're also building relationships that are much deeper. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
What else are you doing out there?
We have a dog trainer in our group, and she is excellent. And I'm sure if you don't have a dog trainer in your group, you probably have one in a group near you. And she offered to give reduced rates for walking and feeding dogs for anybody that's works in a hospital, any kind of first responder. And so we were able to put something together and put it out on all of our sites and promote her so that she has a little bit of business coming in and help the community with people that are working 12-hour shifts that can't get home to take care of their animals.
That's great. That's something that's quotable, right? That you can send out to people. I love that.
We've seen, hi Brad, hi everybody. I'm so glad that you're doing this. I love being linked up with other realtors. I'm also in the Bay Area, and we're trying to do the same thing and connecting with each other and have some sort of mastermind as well, because we all have different markets. In terms of supporting our other BNI members though, we've seen them sort of link up and have one of them host a speaker series. And so we'll have like the chiropractor and the mediator and the massage therapist and the nutritionist. It will go out in one newsletter and allow people to support them and send that to their client bases. And then they can offer packages and gift certificates for things in the future, and allows them to leverage us as their sales force to our databases and get them some more business. Because as you said, keeping momentum and keeping traction is really important. And so if we can support them with an online Pilates class, or here's how to stretch while you're working at home, that's something of value that they can share with us, and that we can support them in their efforts and then increase their client bases too. So that's how I've seen our chapters sort of team up and help each other.
Love it. I love the newsletter idea.
Hey, Brad. Bill Brimley here. I'm in Utah. Couple of things. One thing that I do personally is I write a letter. I've been sending it out like almost monthly, maybe every 5 or 6 weeks to my database. It's not real estate related at all. Sometimes I'll put poetry in there or a story about when I was growing up or whatever, just share an experience that I had with my dad or something to kind of really bring it home and build a relationship with people. That's one thing that I've done. It's been very well received. Another thing for our chapter, we meet when we do get to meet in person, we meet in a senior care center. Obviously that's not happening now. So we reached out to one of the caregivers and we just said, we love meeting there. We miss you guys. What can we do for your residents? What is one thing that we can do for your residents? And she responded immediately. I was kind of surprised by her response, but she said, we could really use an iPad because these residents, they're on lockdown. They're in their rooms. They don't even get to be together. And so they're missing their children and their grandchildren. And so we took up a donation and we bought them an iPad and had it sent, had it delivered. It got there within 3 days. And that, I think that kind of boosted morale a little bit in our chapter, kind of get out of our own way and do something for somebody else. And, you know, it cost us $20 a piece. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. So it's been kind of nice. And so other than that, we're about to have our second online meeting tomorrow. So I'm looking for just input on how to boost that morale and how to bring it, you know, because it's different. We don't have the body language as much on a Zoom call. And so, you know, how do you get that energy up? And, you know, so I'm sure open to suggestions for that, because we're doing our second one tomorrow. We've got 3 visitors lined up. So we're excited about that.
I'll chip in that we had our 5 visitors today. It went really well. And for morale in the meeting, it's almost getting to the point and getting through the meeting so it doesn't feel like a burden, and spending extra time doubling down on spending one-on-one, or even these Zoom calls, having your own account and putting 2 or 3 people together has really kept our synergy going really well. So I'm doing like 6 1-to-1s a week through Zoom and just scheduling them and putting them in consistently, because, you know, a large portion of my business, I do quite a bit from BNI, and I don't want that feeling or that momentum to stop. I want to make sure that I'm doubling down on those contacts, checking in on them, and having these same conversations, right? So how can we help the car mechanic, or how can we help the, you know, whoever it is in the chapter, to make sure that we boost them. One thing I'll point out that we're doing as well is we are doing joint coffee talk. So I've actually invited my VIP people in, talking about the real estate market and bringing in a property manager, a lender, talking about SBA loans, forbearance, things that people need to know right now. And as the information unfolds, right? So we're doing 1 a week for our clients. I'm a guest on other people's conversations and they're inviting their clients, or we're doing it jointly. So I think it's a huge opportunity to get people in a room in a Zoom meeting that don't have the power of our BNI chapters, right? We all feel a little isolated, but I don't feel that isolated because I have all these people I can rely on, right? And so that's a way to reach out to business owners and people that you know in your database to really get in front of them and making sure you're talking to them as well.
Hey, Brad, how are the visitors perceiving our offering of the networking group? Have you gotten feedback from them that have been to a regular meeting versus a Zoom meeting?
Well, here's the feeling that I get. You don't get we're a super energetic meeting at 7 o'clock in the morning on Wednesdays. Like, people are cheering and screaming as they come into the room, how excited they are, and high-fiving each other as they walk through the door, right? It's been our culture ever since I joined. And actually, I think it was before me. But it's just been this consistent culture that you can't really describe in a Zoom meeting. The difference is, though, they're looking for somewhere to belong. So it might not be the woohoo excitement, but they're seeing, oh my, I've got these people that I can rely on and build that fortress around me of individuals that will help. So the visitors today did well. I don't know how many we've converted yet, but we did a breakout session right after where one of the visitor hosts went in and talked through what it looks like. And hopefully we'll see some return from that.
If I could just piggyback on that, Brad, we've had 3 Zoom meetings now. We're 7 a.m. on Tuesday, and we generally have a really dynamic, energetic meeting and get a lot of compliments from our visitors that appreciate that. I'm also a director consultant in my region, and so I'm checking in with a lot of the presidents as they transition. So we have new presidents coming on, and I was talking to our new president, and she said, one thing she noticed at the very beginning of the meeting, and what would traditionally be our open networking time, and now is like kind of sound check and everybody getting in there and getting their backgrounds all set up. Sometimes the visitors come up and they see a Brady Bunch screen full of people and faces that are talking to each other and talk because they clearly know each other. And she made a great point to say that the visitors are kind of coming in, it's a weird situation. They're not they're not immediately getting drawn in because of the way that the Zoom meetings function. And the point that I love that she made was to have the visitor hosts or somebody designate and say, hi, I see we have, John Smith, welcome, tell us, what do you do, John, and who invited you? Just to initially get them involved in the conversation and start to interact with them so that they can really feel included and really feel a part of. And as great as the Zoom meetings have been as a substitute for our in-person meetings, they're not as strong. And that was a gap that I hadn't noticed, and she did. So just, making sure that our visitors are, from the moment they get there, are included, they feel welcome, and they feel part of the conversation, because it's really easy for us, during this novel Zoom medium to kind of have fun with each other and forget that there are some people that aren't part of our group there. So I thought that was a great point that she made. And I just wanted to point that out too.
It works really well.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually muted all of our members. So you can't have that small talk in the beginning. And we have the president or one of the visitor hosts calling on them. It works really well, and they feel like they belong right away.
Yeah, great idea. I'm going to suggest that.
Brooke?
I wanted to add, because you were talking about our meetings and what we're doing. We've actually been adding a meeting stimulant to each meeting just to give it a little direction, because we were finding that people whose businesses are shut were saying, I don't have anything to ask for, or, not really having direction. And so this last week we did, what's one thing you're doing to adjust your business during this time? Because that applies to everyone, whether you're, deemed an essential business or not. And then this week we're doing, what are you doing to give back to your community or your clients during this time? So, because little things pop up that we can go do. And I love the iPad idea, but little things like, I went and donated blood, so I posted it online because they have a desperate shortage right now for blood, and we can still schedule and go do that. So giving each other ideas of just how to be involved in the community and with each other during this time, I think is really important. So.
I have a question. Has anybody heard any discussion in their regions regarding renewals? And renewals, I'm more concerned about renewals of people who have had to stop working completely, like your hairdressers, your massage therapists, that type of thing. We have a mechanic who is renewing May 1st, which is really today. And his business, although he's considered essential, it has completely dropped off. He's a relatively newer mechanic in town. And so I just didn't know if there'd been any discussion in any other regions about how BNI might approach this.
Laura, have you seen something?
So we have a girl in our chapter. She's an arborist, and they've completely shut down. And so her renewal was due last week. And basically they did not give her any breaks. So I had spoken with our president, because she's actually, she's a great member. And I just said, oh my goodness, they can't give some grace. I thought that was very interesting. So I know he was going to reach out to our directors and just find out what was going to happen with that, because what a huge loss. I mean, everyone's going through this, and I would hope that they would extend some grace, because if they don't renew, then that's zero, as opposed to putting them on a payment plan or what have you. So that's here in Northern California.
I know our director put somebody on this week that renewed on a payment plan. So put them on a payment plan and pushed it out. And then we also furloughed our meeting dues for a quarter. And we just said, even if we had to keep doing the Zoom meeting and not meet in person, or do something that's less expensive in order to weather the storm, although we have reserves, we could still probably hold the meeting. No one's owing anything, and we're $180 a quarter. So we're just kind of giving that back for the next quarter.
Yeah. Laura, where are you in Northern California?
Rockland.
Okay. So we just got an email. We're in a different region, but in the region that I'm at, we just got an email from our executive directors, and I'm an area director and director consultant up here also, but they're doing a renewal grace period. They're doing payment options. So I think that it's, they've been working really closely with BNI and seeing what can be done, because our executive directors are only in control of so much. And so I just got that email, I want to say late last night. So I believe that if you don't have something, that they're going to be slowly rolling things out. And again, I can read, I mean, it might not apply to everyone, but it was, you know, a grace period. It was payment plans. So I
Where are
believe
you, Brooke?
I'm in Santa Rosa. So I'm in Sonoma County. So, yeah,
I think
but,
it will be,
again,
I'm sure it will be region by region, right? As it kind of rolls out, because they are independently franchised.
Yeah, can I say something?
Sure, David.
Sure. So I'm in Westchester County, New York. The region's a little bit farther north. We're about an hour and 15 minutes from New York City, right where everything is happening. And we haven't experienced this ourselves, but they've made it very clear no BNI are left behind. So I'm absolutely sure that, you know, when our region when our chapter gets to someone who has a little bit of a headwind, they're going to give them time, they're going to give them a payment plan, all that's going to be available to them. So I'm surprised to hear that, that's not available nationwide yet.
In Texas, we've just gone through a total reorganization where the franchise was bought back by BNI. And we did get a email in the last couple of days that they are postponing, excuse me, the renewals for a little bit. And this is going to help everybody, especially the small entrepreneur that's out there. So we have also furloughed our monthly dues. We charge $65, and that's basically for the venue and the meal. We're a 8 a.m. breakfast meeting every Wednesday morning. We had our third one this morning, and we had probably an 85% attendance, which I felt was pretty good.
So let's shift a little bit away from BNI. Let me ask you what you're doing in conversation to support business owners and reach out to people that are in your database. Are you having any specific calls talking about what's available to them and helping them navigate what's going on in our market right now? Maybe you're not. It's not a right or wrong answer, but I'll share that we've seen an immense amount of success just calling the people that are in our database that own businesses, and just trying to help them with what the SBA is rolling out right now, where to turn, giving them referral sources for how to get more information on whether they're a realtor in a different market, whether they're running, you know, a restaurant with employees, and what this forgiveness loan is going to look like. There's two different types that are out there right now. That, you know, the information's coming out right now. So I'd advise, if you haven't done this yet, really get to know the SBA plans and help your clients and business owners out with what's going on in that world. Because some people don't know about it. They have no idea where to turn or what to do. And so that conversation is actually pretty easy. And some of these loans will turn into grants if you meet certain requirements. Yeah, Todd.
Our banker in our group is actually offering a Zoom session on SBA loans on Friday. He said, feel free to share it along with everyone that you think may be interested. I'm happy to share you guys the link if you'd like. He's been pretty helpful so far, so it might be worth just hopping on if anyone's interested.
Put it in the chat window if you would, Todd. Give us the link so we can share that. Is anyone doing that yet? Am I the only one?
No, I think I talked about mine last week. I've got some clients that are restaurant owners, and they own 2 here in town. One they just opened 90 days ago, and the middle of April they were scheduled to open their 3rd. And so I've been talking to them about SBA, turned them on to a CPA that could help them because their CPA hadn't reached out to them. And I have a couple other business owners as well. And so I'm just trying to stay in touch with my whole database with those types of details, whether it's the SBA or it's unemployment or it's the stimulus money that's coming their way, all of that. Good response.
Good. And to your point too, on the stimulus money, our CPA stepped into our chapter this week and talked about how it might not be beneficial to you if you file taxes right away, and you might want to take the extra time and extension in order to receive stimulus money, et cetera. So knowing the ins and outs of that and referring them to a CPA is huge. And then, you know, we did this just for our own knowledge. We actually reached out to Wells Fargo on Saturday and asked them about forbearance and what the options were and what they were doing to combat what was going on. And no questions asked, they would forbear our loan for 3 months. No questions asked whatsoever. One thing you have to be careful of when talking with your clients about this is different lenders are going to act different ways. I believe Wells is being very open and will tack it on to the end of your loan and give you a little bit of grace there. There are some lenders that might try and do a balloon payment at the end of the 3 or 4 months. And anything over that, they might be looking at doing loan modifications, which could challenge your ability to borrow in the future.
Hey, Brad,
yeah.
Real quick on that, we got our notification that from our association regarding the forbearance that it can be up to, I think it was like 360 days if it's a federally backed mortgage, in which case you'd have no interest or payments due during the forbearance period. But if it's not a federally insured, it's literally, you're playing on the Old West right now, and it's going to be bank by bank. I had one that was at a smaller bank here, BB&T, which is now Truist. And if you go onto their site, they're telling you, yeah, we'll give you a 3-month forbearance. Balloon payment hits at the day one of that. Mm-hmm. So we're still trying to get clarification. And if people find out what the bigger banks are doing, maybe we can post it onto the Facebook page.
Sure.
We can have some more clarification on that. But, you know, I'm treading a really fine line when I reach out to my clients and we just start discussing forbearance, because if they've refinanced, you don't know what their loan currently is, and we don't want to be putting the wrong information out there. But I keep telling your bank, and just talk to your bank and ask them, or go online. They all have the COVID guidelines on their home pages right now.
So the media, just so everyone knows, and I'm sure you've seen this, the media is basically making it sound like nobody has to make their mortgage payments, right? And that's ultimately what it comes to in their headlines. The reality is there's a couple of resources that we've been giving out. Number one is, remember the old the Making Home Affordable website? So you can go there, and there are 2 links to Fannie and Freddie where you can actually type in your address and find out whether or not it's a federally backed loan or not. Whether it's being serviced by Wells or somebody else, you can actually go in there and find out, and it will tell you if it's federally backed or not. In which case, that security is actually, you know, they're making more concessions and saying up front that they'll grant that furlough without any consequence to your credit, and you'll still have to pay the interest, but it's going to be deferred. Okay. The ones that aren't federally backed, so if you find that out, you always have to call your lender no matter what. And I think the key is that we're telling our people is just don't not pay your payment. Make sure you find out what the options are and what the outcome will look like should you choose not to make that payment. And whether it's balloon or what might show up, you have to have the conversation. And that's been really good. We've helped a lot of people at least start the conversations. Now, I heard Chase yesterday was a 6.5 hour long wait on the phone to talk to that department. So it's just going to get worse as we go. And the one thing that we're promoting is if you think there's going to be a problem, you call them now. You know, don't wait. And even if you have to go online and request a call back or whatever it is, just start the conversation now.
Brad, would you repeat the website, please?
It's, I'll see if I can find it real quick for you. It's, I think it's the Making Home Affordable Act. I'll pull it up for you and send it over.
Pop it in the chat. Yeah, please.
Yep. Anyone else have anything to add? James?
Yeah, I was just, first of all, it's unbelievable what we are going through. And as a father of 2 young daughters, as a president of BNI, as a real estate broker in Southern California, you watch the news and it's just shocking, and you can get paralyzed from all that stuff. And basically, I'm trying to keep the attitude and mindset of inspiring, especially my children, but other people, that there's, things are happening. We don't have answers to everything, that there's always opportunities in anything that we do. And it's all depends on how we react and inspire people. And as far as real estate market, I mean, we have some of the lowest interest rates, and especially out here, as you know, Brad, some of the lowest inventory that I've seen in quite a while. And so I do think it's just hard if you're watching the news all the time to keep people's spirits up. And then when you have certain occupations that maybe didn't make the right decisions on some of their financial things, people are scared and don't know where to do. And I think the main thing that you need to do is keep your mindset and keep trying to inspire people that things will change for the better.
I love it. I love the positivity behind that. We've turned off the news altogether. I don't even know what's going on anymore. We're trying to have conversations and, live in our world and try not to listen to what's going on out there. Jim?
Hey everybody, Jim Bialik. I'm with Coldwell Banker in the Northeast. We're a little north of the filling market. I just want to thank you for putting this together. I got a zillion notes here. So a lot of this has to do with bringing value to our customers, to our BNI members, and I see an opportunity to get more people to pay attention to BNI as a support group, to get us through this, and maybe get visitors that normally wouldn't have came. So Brad, I love that video you put out. I just got on your Facebook today, but I love that video you put out, making that message. So I one day ask you, mind if I steal it, the content and some of that language? Is that okay?
You're always welcome to steal anything of mine.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks. This is a quote that came over to me, and this is not intended to be Keller Williams specific, but I thought it was really interesting, that an email that we received. And this might create some conversation around where my mindset is with the market changing. And the backstory is I started in real estate in 2008, which a lot of people laughed at me when I started, but it created a lot of grit for me in my first couple of years. And I didn't have a choice. I had to succeed. I had to get through it. And Gary Keller sent over an email to his top 100 that said, "Be creative and be bold. This is the time to use the cover of the circumstances to figure out how to become the smart and safe place for buyers and sellers to go. They're going to go somewhere, and make it you. Be safe and be strong and lean into this." The lean into it piece of it, where if we can kind of block out all the terrible things that are going on in our world, stay focused and have those care calls, but really ramp up our activities as opposed to feel isolated and slow down, is the way that I'm looking at this. And my intention over the coming year is lean in and don't come off your goals. Focus on doing more activities. And I think we'll be the few that stay in the business. It's going to weed out a lot of agents in our market right now. There's a lot of people that are going to disappear over the coming 45, 60, 90 days. So is anyone else taking that mindset and pushing forward?
I am, absolutely. I received a text message. I'm Robin Victor, and I'm with Remax in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I received a text message this morning from somebody that I didn't know. "Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm just checking to see what real estate agents are doing and how you're doing, etc. Give me a call, let's talk." So I called him and talked, and he was he was a Keller Williams agent, and he was just so much part of the 20%, or maybe it's 10% of the people that are not going to hide under a rock. They're going to get up and they're going to find something to do, and they're going to be positive, and that's what they're going to do. And at the end of the conversation, I wanted to say to him, "Gee, if you ever put a mastermind group together, I'd like to be part of it." And before I got the chance to ask, he said, "I put a mastermind group together. We're going to be on a call at 10. Would you like to join us?" So of course I did. And it was fantastic and uplifting. I offered ideas, they offered ideas. And I think that's a key in this environment, is to surround ourselves with the 20% or the 10% of the people that are going to get up and do something. That are not going to hide under a rock or sit in front of the television that are going to reach out, do something for their clients, do something for their fellow realtors, do something for their fellow BNIers. Surround ourselves with those people, be positive and have that outlook. And that'll be a much better way to get through this.
Love it. Sorry, just taking notes. Anybody else? What can we do? I mean, what else can we do to implement into our own businesses to persevere, right? Is there anything that we can utilize each other here in this room to do more business and find more business? And this is going to lead to my question of, do you have any referrals? Is there anybody looking to place someone outbound or inbound that is currently seeking or searching?
I'm hoping the referrals come to me simply because Texas is the place everybody's moving to. We're averaging about 80 families a day, or we were, coming into the Texas market, whether it be Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, or Houston, because jobs are being created. That's bottom line. And jobs will draw and help us all survive.
So what about outbound?
Outbound, not much. I've got one client moving to Canada, and that was a job transfer, but that's about it. We see a lot of movement within the marketplace, people moving up, and the move up market right now is kind of where we're hoping that we have that rebound come June and July. One of the things we're seeing, apartment rents are going up. And so we have a lot of young couples looking for that first time home. Problem is there's just not enough out there. What's out there is a lot of investors are selling their properties. The problem is they have not been maintained. They've not been cared for, and it's really deplorable conditions. And the young couples just are not going to accept that.
Interesting.
A lot of the same thing going on in Utah as well. A lot of growth here, huge growth here. You know, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen. I appreciate this group being together because I get to hear people and talk to people that are maybe a few weeks ahead of me in what's been going on in the market. So I kind of know what to expect. So it seems like interest rates are really volatile every day. I don't exactly know where that's headed or where it's going, but it is what it is. But I'm just grateful for this group that I can hear people and that I can network. I think BNI is a great thing. I'm still looking for the one, I'm looking for one person that I can reach in my business every day. I had a client reach out today that broke her leg and her back. She's looking for some crutches. I had some crutches because I had my knee replaced a few years back. So that's a connection that I can make. Just touch the one person, however you can touch them, and I think it's gonna pay off.
That's great, Bill. And to your comment on what to expect and what can you do, I shared this in one of our other masterminds. We went out before we were locked down and we did 3D Matterport virtual tours of all of our listings. If you have inventory and you haven't been shut down yet, I highly recommend you do whatever you can to continue to share the property online in its very best light. And even if it costs you a couple extra dollars, we sent it out to we sent an off-market property out to 2,500 people, and we sold it in the first 24 hours because we had a 3D Matterport video, we had aerials of the property, we had different things that they could look through, floor plans that they could look through and search for the property online. And they ended up not seeing it, and they went into escrow.
I've been trying to list a property here for the last few weeks, and so this gives me another good reason to follow up. We've actually got a real estate photographer in our chapter, and she's fantastic, and she does she'll do the Matterport tours, and she does a great job. So it's one thing less I have to worry about. So thank you.
Use it as leverage to sign the listing. We got to do it now. Time's running out.
Do you see any confusion with the Matterport from the client base?
No, I think the best way to represent it is if you actually do a video walkthrough of it yourself, and then if they want to go play with it, they have a separate resource to do that. So from just seeing the actual site, sometimes it's challenging, but if you do a video walkthrough as the landing or the tutorial on it, it works really well. All right. Any other referrals or comments before we jump off the call today?
I got a question.
Sure, Todd.
How are you guys going about showing your homes? Are you guys taking extra precautionary? Are you guys doing any additional measures to bring your clients in and make sure everyone's safe?
Hi, can you guys hear me? This is Colleen McFerrin calling from San Francisco. You can hear me okay?
We got you.
Okay, so yeah, we are doing, I've done final walkthrough, and I got there early with mask and gloves and wipes. I wiped everything down, all the knobs, kitchen appliances, hearth, mantle, everything. And then I had them come in and we did the walkthrough, and they felt really supported and really, really appreciate it. We're ordered, as I guess everybody, to not do any face-to-face, but we follow those protocols. And then we did I did the Zoom signing, which you probably have done as well. The different states do it differently, but for our buyer's title signing, you know, we did a Zoom call so we could be there with them and answer questions, both myself and the lender. We're doing for showings, we're doing the virtual, the floor plans, the Matterport. We have both on and off market properties, and some of the properties in our area, in the Bay Area, which I have a team and we work the Bay Area, they're on lockbox, so those are much easier to go in and do your own tour. Ones that are by appointment only, where a client is living in the property still, those are definitely by virtual right now. In fact, the reason I was late is I was having the virtual tour done. We've had the floor plans done. So it just takes, you know, staying motivated to go that extra mile, those extra steps that, one, help your clients feel comfortable, help the other agents feel comfortable, and not get bogged down with, you know, every little story that you hear. So it's so nice to have you guys. I appreciate the call.
Hey, Brad, can we take a quick survey to see how many are single agents versus groups or teams?
Single.
Okay.
Brad, you big bump.
Team of 3 agents.
Okay.
I can tell you, back on what the question just was a second ago, in the DC, Maryland area, we are all still deemed essential, which is great for us. But buyers are not. Buyers are on lockdown in Maryland, DC, and Virginia, actually. So I just had one of my clients email me, you know, she has to go find a place. I said, I can access the property, but technically you're not supposed to be leaving your house. So I'll end up having to likely FaceTime her and do a walkthrough with the property. And it's going to, for each one of us, it's going to depend upon the market that you're in right now and what your rules are for your market. Like you guys said, you know, walkthrough tours, the Matterport, or wherever other 3D tour that you guys want to use. The digital marketing is going to be essential for us, and just Zoom meeting with them or whatever the case may be. I've got a listing that'll come on next week, hopefully. It'll be vacant. I just got to get the contractors out. And then I'll send the photographer in, and you know, it'll be staged this weekend, Monday at the latest, get the photographer in there, and then we'll just digitally market the hell out of it.
I think that's great. And when you're working with buyers, one thing that we found, this was not a forced situation for us, but a couple of years back, we sold a $3 million condo in downtown San Diego to a buyer from South Korea. And it was really uncomfortable for me. I actually scared me to do it. And we just over FaceTimed, over like the inspection, the walkthroughs, I mean, just to the point where it was almost to make myself feel good. He was fine, right? But I had to get to the point of, I want to make sure that he's going to buy this house, and I'm not going to enter this escrow or have a liability later because I told him what he wanted to hear, or I didn't say enough. So having that interaction through FaceTime or through a Zoom call or whatever, I think is huge, and make the digital marketing personal, right? So try not to make it so obscure and just the property. Do whatever you can to make the marketing personal, and I think that will go a long ways.
Let me ask you that on that note for everybody, walkthrough tours. The company that does the 3D tours, the regular photo shoots, they'll do a walkthrough tour for you as well. 1, 2, or 3 minute walkthrough tour. Do you think it would be better to have a professional walkthrough tour, or for us to step out and do the video tours ourselves, the walkthrough tour, and get some audio with it where you can further get in there and describe it a little bit more and make it a little bit more personal aspect to it? Just want to see what you guys' thoughts are.
I think people want to see personal. That's my vote.
Agreed. I think the personal, it's another touch with your client, and you can show them things and put them at ease, showing them things that maybe they wouldn't see through a professional video. You know, like you said, if you're concerned about them not liking the property or something like that, you can show them. Like the other day, I showed my client a difference in the flooring between the bedroom and the hallway, and you may not get that with the professional.
All right, so in the interest of keeping these to an hour, since I'm scheduling my day as much as I can, I want to thank everybody for coming on. And I am going to, it is recorded, just so you know, so I'll send it back out to you or put it in the actual Facebook group. So if you missed anything or want to take some notes, you can get back in there. If anybody wants to reach out to me, feel free. And we'll have 3 more of these over the next 10 days. So take a look in the Facebook group. Again, the Facebook group link is at the very top of the chat if you want to take that down right now. It's the BNI Real Estate Referral Group if you're not a part of that already on Facebook. And I also put in the link, if you'll see a couple of comments up, which is makinghomeaffordable.gov. So if you want to go to that website to find out if something is Fannie or Freddie backed, it has all those resources for you. And if you want any more information about the SBA loans and the details that we've learned, just shoot me a quick message and I'll make sure that we distribute that as well. So thank you everybody for coming on, and come join us for the next one. Appreciate meeting all of you, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing this.
Yep. Thanks everybody. Have a good one.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Be safe.